It's the golden hour here. The sun is at that beautiful moment, and it's the beginning of the stillness, of the inturning. And as we meditate, as we cultivate our deeper contemplative practice and turn within to seek a source of inner guidance, it's natural to discover not one voice, but many voices, even a cacophony of voices, which can be confusing. But this arising is actually part of the meditative process. It's really a revelation, a revealing of, because the cacophony reflects and reveals the fragmented state of our conditioned mind. It reveals the tensions, the conflicting interactions of the conditioned mind. We hear many voices that come from our culture, maybe from our religion or our family of origin. We hear voices of the spiritual teachings that we've been exposed to, and they're all echoing inside and competing for our attention. The instruction is to let the mud settle. Let the mud settle. But as the surface chatter settles, as the mud settles, often then we'll perceive, whether it's with a felt sense or with an image, with a word of direction, we'll hear something, feel something, see something that inspires us or provides a sense of consolation and peace. And this is a very beautiful moment. It's a moment that invites us to a deeper level of discernment. This deeper level is described in myths and stories from around the world. It's that moment, a critical moment in the life of the sage, where they are tempted, where the voice of guidance, even the voice of inspiration, comes, but the ancient myths and teachings tell us that it's the voice of the devil from the biblical narrative, or the voice of Mara in the tale of the life of the Buddha. And these symbols are templates that we can use in our own mystical and spiritual discernment, because in these stories we're being presented with an archetypal situation, a universal pattern that we can use to clarify our own practice of seeking clear, authentic inner guidance. So the devil / Mara, the shadow voice, is reinforcing the specialness of our individual nature, our separateness from others. In the Jesus story, he's told to jump off the temple, jump off this high building, because God won't hurt you. You're the Son of God. But Jesus, in that tale, doesn't find his identity in some kind of specialness, special miracle, because that's an ego-based, fear-based, emotionally driven kind of guidance. And these ego exhortations are so prevalent in our culture, which is so focused on specialness and achievement. We're told to go for it, which in and of itself is a fine thing. It's fine to go for it. We're here to go for it. Yes, we are. But what is the it that we're going to go for? And that calls for a deeper kind of discernment. So when we hear the motivational, histrionic, and heroic voice, that's really a key symbol, the heroic voice. It's time to pause, be still, and tune in. Pay attention to the body. How does it feel in your body? And notice and cultivate your capacity to discern the difference between what Joseph Campbell called your bliss, following your bliss, and the physicality, the sense of a more strident, a more inflated energy that we could call the motivational high. There's a difference between that grounded, whole embodiment of bliss and the kind of upward trajectory of the motivational high. Notice, is the guidance leading you to become more whole or more special, more loving or more impressive, more integrated or more well-known? Because guidance that promises us specialness or extraordinary status is rarely the guidance that comes from the soul. And this is really deep and tricky. It requires this refined sensitivity, because while the soul is calling us to be all that we can be, it's not a call that can be an invitation to any kind of comparison at all. Even if the call is, even if the guidance is to speak up, to take a stand, to dream a big, a deep dream, to step out into the public space, it's not the call of the soul, because if it's going to be about proving something special about you, that would be the ego speaking. It's not about seeking to compensate for any kind of incompleteness, imagined incompleteness. The call of the soul, when it's to dream big and make an impact, is because there's value in the message itself. It's meaningful service. There's a gift within us that we are here to offer humbly and wholeheartedly. The voice of the soul always is reminding us that we aren't special, but we are sacred, and those are different. We don't need to prove our worth. Rather, we are called to recognize the infinite worth of every being, including ourselves, and to wholeheartedly embody that precious reality in the nitty-grittiness of our everyday life. Now, karmically, our situation, it may place us on a public stage, or it may place us at the bedside of a child. And neither of those is more holy. Both. The socially recognized situation or the invisible hidden situation are both and all invitations for us to embody love and to be agents of grace in the world. So as the mud settles, as we let the mud settle, the grandiosity settles as well. And that's a clue as to whether we're listening to the soul or the ego. Grandiosity, even in its subtlest forms, begins to settle down, and we relax into the inherent love that is life. It's ordinary, the miracle of the ordinary shining through, and the tremendous blessing of this life, of this moment, this golden lighted moment, is revealed. The guidance of the sacred is always very specific. It doesn't take us into a fantasy of greatness. That is almost always a sure sign of ego. But rather it takes us into the embodiment of gratefulness for the opportunity to be blessed and to be a blessing in this very life that we are living. here and now.